Well, they should approach it from the same way they approached everything about building a small business. It's all about that network effect and networking. Instead of doing it at the Chamber of Commerce like we did, 10 years, 20 years ago, still do to some degree, you're doing it in a micro way on social media.
The following is brought to you by Thryv, the end-to-end client experience platform that helps you get the job, manage the job, and get credit.
Hey, this is Gordon Henry at Winning on Main Street, and this week we're fortunate to meet Evan Kirstel. Welcome to the show, Evan.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great to have you here. So Evan, you've had an impressive career in technology, social media. I was wondering if you could just give us a brief overview of some of the highlights of your career to get us started.
It's a long, sad story. No, just kidding. It's a long story of ups and downs. 30 plus years in enterprise tech, 20 years plus on the business and marketing and sales side with big companies and startups, and then almost 10 years just under as a solo practitioner, small business owner. And yeah, it's been a wild ride. Thank you.
Fantastic. I understand also that you have a social media audience of nearly 500,000 people. How did you do that?
It's a complete obsession, a very, very unhealthy obsession. I wouldn't recommend it to people, but in all seriousness, yeah, it was a personal obsession for many years, going back 15 years on Twitter and, over a dozen years on LinkedIn and Instagram and all the places. And that turned into a business, helping clients as a content creator, tech influencer, kind of industry insider, and just general jack of all trades on social media. But these days you throw around words like content creators and influencers, and none of that really existed when I started tweeting and posting and blogging. So yeah, it's been a fun ride.
Yeah, awesome. So I like to say, what should our listeners get out of this episode? And my take on it is that if you're a small business and you need to scale your reach and your engagement on social media, Evan's a guy who has a lot of experience in that area and who can help. So listen up. And also, Evan is a consultant, and there may be opportunities there as well. So my first question to you really, Evan, is, you consult on social media to some of the world's biggest brands, but our listeners tend to be small businesses: dentists, doctors, plumbers, auto mechanics, roofers. How should they approach social media?
Well, they should approach it from the same way they approached everything about building a small business. It's all about that network effect and networking, except instead of doing it at the Chamber of Commerce like we did 10 years, 20 years ago, still do to some degree, you're doing it in a micro way on social media. So you're leveraging the platforms not to create, massive reach across the country and the world, but to create engagement and visibility and empathy and connection with people who are around the corner, around the block, in the next town. So all of the best practices and tips and tricks and techniques I use for building reach with global brands are equally as relevant, if not more so, to creating connection in your town or community. So whether it's, Twitter or Facebook groups or LinkedIn, you can use all of these platforms to micro target, to connect with people who are local to you, and to build relationships. And at the end of the day, it's all about creating buzz and awareness and kind of attention, but at a local level. So if you're not a local business that's creating content, the competitor probably is. You're probably going to lose out over the long term, no matter how great your business or your old-fashioned Rolodex is, with the wheel that spins around with the business cards.
Sure.
You gotta modernize and refresh your approach to sales and marketing, and that means using social media in some way or another.
Right. So drilling down a little bit on that, when you think about a small business, whether it's a dentist who's drilling on your tooth or a auto mechanic who's working on the bumper of your car, they may say to themselves, what does anybody care about what I do? They just come in and they want to get their thing fixed. So you're telling me that I should be tweeting or blogging about these mundane things that I do, like fixing a tooth or fixing a bumper. Is that right?
No, I wouldn't be tweeting about that or posting or doing videos. I would be talking to your clients and and sharing content around what your clients are doing, who they are, how you've helped them, getting testimonials, and leveraging all of these modern platforms. And it's not just social media; it's digital media. So the first place I go to, frankly, when I'm finding a new vendor, provider, a lawyer, I go to Google search, or I go to honestly Google Maps, and I find the business. Right, you do this probably, and I see reviews. And I check the reviews, I check the business, and if it looks like it's a company I want to do business with, I reach out. And a lot of those reviews are, garnered organically. Some of them are through customers you reach out to and ask them to review your product or service or your business. Others come from referral traffic in other places. Maybe you're a baker and you've shared some amazing recipes or photos of your bakery, and people discover you that way. But you have to leverage these modern digital and social platforms to kind of get seen and discovered. And we live in the attention economy now. So it's no longer enough to kind of word of mouth and referrals is how most small businesses continue to thrive. But in today's economy and the hyper-competitive environment we're in, it's just not enough to rely on those old forms of marketing through your personal network.
Yeah, and in terms of the reviews, you're suggesting, I guess, soliciting those reviews, which I agree is a way that a lot of people look for vendors. Do you recommend they use a platform? Our company, full disclosure, makes a CRM platform that includes review solicitation.
Nice.
You suggest they utilize one of the platforms out there to do that, to ask for reviews, or I guess do it in person when you're with your customers.
I love that. Yeah, I love the idea that you can use platforms like Thryv to automate and manage some of that. There's the old-fashioned way of just, hey, are you on Facebook? Like our group, join our group. If you're a small gym, hey, check out our Instagram page. I mean, literally, you can reach out and connect with the top 30, 50, 100, quote unquote, micro influencers in your neighborhood, in your 5 mile square radius, 10-mile radius, whatever it may be, and connect with them and get their attention and offer them specials. I mean, there's almost no business now that shouldn't be on social media. I mean, if I were I don't know, let's say I were a laundry mat, we think, well, why would they need on social media? Maybe I offer, it's in Boston, maybe I offer students, a free roll of quarters if they post about doing their laundry on Instagram and share it with their friends. Maybe I would gamify and offer specials based on folks sharing, pictures of their laundry, some kind of fun gamification. So there's so many ways to be creative. And as a small business owner, you really can't afford to spend a lot of money on paid marketing. Most can't afford to have an agency or hire someone. So you really have to use these kind of guerrilla marketing hacks and tricks and techniques to get noticed. And of course, they're free. No, they're not free. There's time and effort and energy and that goes into them. But there's no better way to get free media, free attention, and customers than using all of the best practices that are out there.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I find everybody says they don't like advertising or they don't want to be marketed to. But the truth is when you're looking for something, suddenly you are interested in, let's just call it information about that thing. So if I had the unfortunate thing this weekend, some guy nicked my bumper, right? So all of a sudden I'm interested in getting bumper fixed, So I'm looking around locally saying here, who's the specialist in fixing that bumper, right? And I would love to go on somebody's social media or their website and see pictures of how other bumpers they fixed, right? So suddenly when you need something, or you're going out to dinner, obviously this is a common one, and you want to see the pictures of the food. You want information about the thing you're interested in at that moment, and social media is a great way to do that, right? So that does suggest for the small business person, hey, put your pictures up, maybe say a few words about the things that you are really good at, right?
Yeah, and it's about staying top of mind too. Like I don't need to buy flowers until I do, and then who's top of mind? Well, it's someone I bookmarked or someone maybe I follow on Instagram, or
Mhm.
and so if you stay top of mind, you're going to get noticed when that opportunity does come to buy. And it's also about collaboration. I mean, if you're a small business owner, there are ways you can collaborate with other small businesses, and through bartering, through sharing each other's posts, through putting together a community of small businesses, through you doing joint promotion, get a discount here if you buy this service. So if I were to have a small business right now, I would know every other small business owner in the area, not just in person but on social media, and offering coupons and discounts and contests and other things on social to drive awareness.
Right, right. So for small businesses, generating leads is kind of their lifeblood. Where do I get new customers from? How effective is unpaid social media, tweeting, blogging, posting, the things you love to talk about there, at generating leads, at generating new customers?
It's very effective, but it's not. There's no quick win. There's no shortcut. There's no easy. It's not like buying a list or putting an ad in the paper or newspaper, and you can then measure how many calls you get. It's a long game, and it requires time and effort, months or longer of putting that content out to see a return. So many people, frankly, just give up because they don't see an ROI after a week, a month, or 6 months sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's about consistency and showing up every day and having fun with it. Frankly, most people are not good at social media. So when they do social, when they do pictures or create content or videos or write, it doesn't work because it's not very good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so then they think, well, it's I'm not getting any results. This doesn't work. Well, you might not be good at it. So what does that mean? It means you can up your game. I mean, you can go out and you can watch YouTube videos and educate yourself on how to use these platforms, how to create video content, how to write, how to take better pictures, and up your game there.
Yeah. Yeah. That you made some good points there that I think many small businesses do rely on search, like Google AdWords, because you put in X number of dollars and you get Y back in terms of leads, and you convert a certain number, and that's the ROI on that spend. And everybody has kind of figured out how to do that. On something like social, blogging, posting, tweeting, not as clear a connection between what you put in and what you got out. And very often it does take time, and it's hard to calculate the ROI you got on the effort. Do you
and even on search, I would just interrupt. I mean, I would say there's an art to creating good ads and good copy, and using the ad. I use Google AdWord campaigns, and it's not obvious. And there are lots of tricks and techniques. You really have to educate yourself. And when you do, get that click to your website, what do they see? I mean, we all have to take websites for granted now, but most of the local websites I see are pretty minimalist, pretty boring, kind of uninteresting site. There's no real reason to go there. It's like a few static images. So you can up your game on the website side and make it really interesting, and put your blog there so people have a reason to go to your website, just beyond just because they saw an ad for it.
Yeah, 100%. So if I'm a small business person and I've got just a couple of employees, doing a lot of the work myself, and I'm listening to you saying, up your game and photos and content, all these things. Should I think about doing that myself, or should I be hiring somebody to do that? What's your thought on that?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of hiring. I mean, there are so many agencies out there that will take your money, and frankly, and you'll be disappointed. I hear that again and again in terms of marketing agencies. Until you understand the game and the dynamics and how to do it, hiring someone isn't, you don't know how to manage them or what to expect. So I would really just focus more on education and your spare time and your off time. Everything is out there. You can educate yourself for free on every platform, every topic. On YouTube, there's an infinite amount of resources there on how to do these things yourself. And I would also gamify it. So, you're paying your employee $18 an hour. What if you offered, bonuses for doing social media in their off time, or you give the commission for a lot of these employees are young and they're on social anyway. Why don't you, leverage them as a resource for a few bucks a post, create some buzz, and enlist your customers. If get a free ice cream cone if they post themselves eating it on Instagram, and then they have a few followers, some followers, or so there's a way to leverage your customer base, your community, your sort of that audience, for very short money that just requires a bit of imagination.
Yeah. What do you say about frequency for a small business appearing on social media, posting, blogging, tweeting? How often should they be doing this?
A lot. I mean, the average engagement with a post across all these platforms is only 1 or 2%, which means if you have 1,000 followers, let's say, only 1 or 2% of those, you're talking 10, 12 people are seeing that one post. So you think, I'm posting once or twice or 3 times a week. That should be sufficient. No, that's really not going to move the needle. It requires, using automation tools to some degree to get a stream of content out there, posting more than once a week, posting multiple times a day on different platforms, doing different campaigns, sharing content. It's hard to get noticed these days, and we're in this attention economy. It's all about getting noticed, and the busier you are, the more effective you'll be at getting noticed.
Right. And how much of this depends on being a good writer? A lot of people are like, oh, I'm not a good writer. I wasn't a English major or something like that. Does that matter? You said have fun with it. What are the elements of being successful with this? Like, if I'm a doctor, that wasn't my thing.
Well, yeah, doctors are great, examples. If you have a specialty practice, med TikTok is a huge thing. Go on TikTok, and if you're not interested in writing, create a 3 or 5 minute video about a particular specialty you're involved with, and you'd be amazed at the organic reach of that. And you're going to reach potential patients and consumers, based on that video. If you don't like video, if you don't like being on camera, then yeah, focus on writing. If you don't like that, maybe you're a good speaker, do an audio, format, or even a podcast. So there's whether it's written word or spoken word or video word, there's all these formats you can leverage, or find a person in your organization who likes making videos. Maybe it's the receptionist, or maybe it's someone who's one of your servers, and he or she enjoys that stuff and loves being on camera, which is probably the case if you're 20 something these days. So leverage that person to create your video content. And there's really no excuse not to be creative, and sort of bury your head in the sand.
Right. That's awesome recommendations. You got me thinking back. One of the people we had on the podcast just a few weeks ago was a woman who had founded a company called Swig, which listeners may remember a few weeks ago. It's a fast food, I guess you'd say, place out west. It's started in Utah. It's spread to other states now, And basically people drive through, and if you didn't hear a story, you'd say, how is this possible? But basically the big attraction is soft drinks. And you'd be like, soft drinks? But they make it super fun. They're really good at moving their lines through. They have a lot of creative soft drinks. They call it like Dirty Dr. Pepper and things like that have interesting ingredients. They also have a couple of good little edibles, and the thing has taken off. It's a smash hit. There's 40 plus of these all over the country now. And she said TikTok was one of her big movers, that I guess they did some fun TikTok videos with the customers, how quickly moving through the line, how great they love the soda, all this stuff. And she said it exploded, and TikTok was one of the drivers.
Oh yeah, and TikTok has amazing organic reach. You don't have to pay to play. The algorithm wants engagement, and and YouTube the same. If you look at Mr. Beast, I don't know if you know who that is. He's the number one YouTuber in the world with 100 million plus subscribers, and he's someone offered him $1 billion for his YouTube channel.
Huh.
He talks about creating that sort of compelling content. You can now buy a Mr. Beast burger, so he opened up his franchising. So there's Mr. Beast burgers with a few restaurants.
Unbelievable.
His call to action to come to the restaurant generated something like 20,000 people swarming the restaurant from his videos.
Insane.
You can't all be Mr. Beast, but
no.
YouTube, just like TikTok, is just amazing reach, and it shows up in search results. So instead of just paying for Google AdWords, you put stuff on YouTube, and you have the same opportunity for getting discovered on search.
Wow, fascinating. Never even heard of Mr. Beast.
I know, Mr. Beast. You should check him out. It's amazing.
Incredible. So Evan, tell us a little bit about your services. You consult to big brands. Do you work with small businesses? What's your typical customer, and what's your typical engagement like?
Yeah, I work with, I'd say, small companies, small startups, innovative small companies who are delivering solutions into business. B2B is my thing. So enterprise or SaaS or med tech or health tech or gadgets, so anyone selling into the B2B business to business world is potential client, big or small. And I help with, again, turbocharging their social efforts. So not everyone can wait around and spend 6 months learning how to do these things and building an audience, building a community, but they need to get kind of jumpstart all of that. And that's what I do with my audience that I built, as well as all of my help creating content and amplifying content and getting seen.
Got it. So anybody who's particularly in the B2B space should think about talking to Evan as
would love to chat.
Or help. Yeah, fantastic. We'll be right back after the break with more from Evan Kirstel. Stay with us.
This episode of Winning on Main Street is brought to you by Thryv, the end-to-end client experience platform that includes everything small business owners need to meet their customers' expectations. Thryv's award-winning and fully mobile interface delivers technology previously reserved for big business to the fingertips of small business owners nationwide. Thryv's built specifically for small business, but there's nothing small about what it can do. Thryv handles your entire customer experience, helping business owners reach more customers, stay organized, get paid faster, and generate online reviews, all from a single device or screen. To learn more about Thryv, visit winningonmainstreet.com and click on Get a Demo. When it comes to software to run your business, there's no comparison. Check out Thryv today.
And we're back with Evan Kirstel. Fascinating conversation about using social media to build your local business, or some of the people out there have done really well, like Mr. Beast. I just learned that one from Evan. So Evan, tell us a little bit about yourself, and particularly you built this 500,000 audience online, which I'm sure all our users or our audience would love to have. How did you do that yourself? What kind of content did you create? Did you post photos? Did you create, language that was unique to you? How did you do that?
Well, I think it's time and effort. There's no real shortcuts. So over a dozen years, but developing a bit of a playbook and adapting that over time. So there's, curating content is number one. It's sharing the news and stories and third-party information and with your point of view. So that's key to kind of being seen as a source of insight and information. There's content creation. So I blog for the written word. So twice a month, I use LinkedIn and my personal website as the destination for that, because some people still like to read, believe it or not. So I, focus on the written word. Spoken word, I have a couple of podcasts, again, once or twice a month. Some people like myself actually listen to podcasts all day long and are multitasking, and that's how they like to consume information. And so I've been podcasting for several years in a couple of fairly focused areas of enterprise communications and collaboration and future of work and that sort of thing. And then video, primarily live streaming. Live streaming over the pandemic in particular has really taken off. And so live, I mean, live in terms of LinkedIn Live and Facebook Live and Twitter and YouTube, and going out stream on all those platforms with guests and roundtables. And live is amazing because the reach is extraordinary. The algorithms preference live traffic over recorded or canned content. And so if you do anything live, you're going to get, 10x more reach than otherwise. So,
interesting.
Yeah. So I'd encourage, businesses to look at live. There's no production cost and editing. It's just putting yourself out there on one or multiple platforms, and the reach is and engagement is off the charts. So you can do that on TikTok and Insta and all the platforms now. So, I think, my success, I think, is overcoming my, desire not to be seen and heard all the time, and to be private. If many people aren't comfortable being on video or putting themselves out there in that way. And I think that's one of the barriers to overcoming that. And that's just through trial and error and through experience. You do something for 10,000 hours, I think Malcolm Gladwell says, you become an expert in it. And so, you got to put the time and the effort in, and that's what I encourage folks to do.
Yeah, that live comment is an interesting one too. I would suggest people really pay attention, because a lot of businesses have some kind of event where they have people live at something, whether it's a concert at a restaurant, or I don't know. We had a client here at Thryv, a woman who was a doggy daycare kind of place, and she would do these events in parks where they would groom the dogs, and I could see that being a live stream.
That's totally live, and live doesn't mean it disappears. I mean, there's still a recording of it. It's saved. There's a post or tweet or that remains after the fact, and that's, wow, what a great content opportunity. That's definitely something that would go viral on all the platforms. And most business owners have something that's really interesting to some audience. Even you think the dentist. Well, a lot of people, for example, just loathe going to the dentist. Well, what if you could open up the dental practice and show how it works, and meet the dentist beforehand, and show, the equipment and the setup and the procedures? I think it would be just one example of content creation opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Good food for thought there. So we just have a few minutes left. Quick lightning round for you. First of all, what do you think of Elon Musk taking over Twitter?
Well, I'm sort of just sitting back and eating popcorn, like it's just an unfolding drama. I don't know what to think day to day. It gets either more bizarre or less based on but he's doing what I'm recommending, which is to get attention. So somehow
good at that. He's definitely
it's working. He's definitely good at that. And you think about all of the free media he's getting for himself and his brands. Now, whether that's going to work out in the end, I don't know. I'm not a finance guy, so I can't say whether that was all worth it. But it is fascinating to watch unfold.
Yeah. What's your favorite social network and why?
Well, for me, it's LinkedIn. I'd say, just because you get tremendous organic reach. You're not getting a lot of bots and fraud and fake accounts, and there's serious customers there to be had. And if you're selling into businesses or enterprise like I am, there's a graph of the entire enterprise right there for for the taking. So whether it's research or targeting or selling, it's just all that juicy data is right out there for everyone to see.
How much time per week do you spend on social media?
All the time. So it's all the time. It's a massive time suck, but I enjoy it because I'm a news junkie. I love learning, and a lot of what I focus on is education, just either consuming interesting content or creating educational content. So me, it's a learning opportunity. It's not about the celebrities and gossip and just news. There's so much educational content out there, interesting people to connect with, and I take a lot of the people I meet on social, and you turn that into offline connections and offline clients, and you have an open channel to fascinating and really interesting people. Despite all the downside of social, there are really lots of great people to meet and network with and connect with.
Good stuff. What's next for Evan Kirstel? What's next on your agenda, career-wise? Where will we find you in 6 or 12 months?
Yeah, I think I love what I'm doing. I love being a small business owner and being independent, not being in the corporate rat race. So I was doing a lot of traveling before COVID, so I'm looking forward to getting out and about and traveling more. And I'm not quite this sort of digital nomad, but I really enjoy events and conferences and international travel. So I see, more of that, and maybe back to Europe, back to international travel would be fantastic.
Yeah, great. And just to finish up, where can listeners learn more about where you're doing? How should they find you?
Yeah, really, it's just Evan Kirstel, EVANKIRSTEL on all the networks. And I'm really focused on YouTube these days, so go check out my YouTube channel at Evan Kirstel.
Cool. Well, I want to thank you for coming on our show. Great stuff, and great to have you here.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to check out Thryv. It sounds like a platform I could use as well. So that'll be one of my next steps.
Yeah, and thank you to our producers, Tim Alleman, and our coordinators, DeEtte Barnett and Daniel Huddleston. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please tell your colleagues, friends, family to subscribe, and please leave us a 5-star review. Speaking of social media, we'd really appreciate it. Helps us in the rankings. Until next time, make it a great week.